Welcome, students of the VWO 6th, but also students of HAVO. This could also be helpful for you because often they reuse questions from former VWO questions, and you can even be better prepared if you challenge yourself a little bit. We're talking about the exam of 2025, and we're talking, of course, about the history exam. Yeah, so you can also find these exams on the website of meneer Flinkevleugel. So remember that. Okay, we're talking about the exam, and we have to use a source. So in a second or so, we're going to look at the source, but the question at first. In Dutch. In de Eerste Wereldoorlog was er sprake van een totale oorlog. So during the First World War, there was a total war going on. En in Dutch geeft twee argumenten om dit aan te tonen. What does dit mean? What does it refer to? De totale oorlog. Dus geef twee argumenten, give two arguments to prove that the First World War was a total war. You have to give two arguments for that, two good examples of proof that you can see. And which source do you have to use? You have to use source 5. And you have to know, before the First World War, you had the Napoleonic Wars. Soldiers had a long rifle, they could shoot it, and they had to stamp it and then reload it. It took like a minute or even two to reload that gun. And they didn't have airplanes, they didn't have tanks, they didn't have machine guns, they didn't have gas, they didn't have hand grenades. So the First World War was also technologically wise a very different war. So that's really important to keep that in mind also. Yeah. Also, on one of the pages of the book, you can find this text. Yeah, and you see here, for the first time in history during the First World War, het oorlog voeren werd een zaak van het hele volk. So it's very important to keep that in mind. So during the First World War, you see at point 6 in your book, I believe on page 14, please check this for me, on page 14 you can find that until then wars were like something of professional soldiers or citizens accidentally living close by. Now the whole population was involved. Now the whole population was involved. Nu had het hele volk ermee te maken. Yeah? So we're talking about Germany. Yeah, and also in Germany there was a total war. But sometimes also we're talking about Great Britain, like you can see here. And in those countries you see that it was not just the soldiers being involved, like during the Napoleonic Wars, but more and more also citizens, but also old people, young people, women, mothers, aunties were also involved in the war. What is the source that you have to use? That's this source. Yeah, and to the left corner of this source you see the following text in German. Aluminium, copper, messing, nickel, tin. We have enough of that in the country. Give it to us. The army needs it. Yeah, so we see here the following. Aluminum, copper, messing, nickel, tin, all kinds of metals are enough in the country. Give it to us. The army needs it. Yeah, that is what the message of the text in the poster is. We see also a person in this poster, and this person is a laborer. You can see it because of his clothing. Yeah, he's wearing. You can see it because he had like big muscles. Yeah, it's a man. So this is a worker, obrero, un trabajador. Yeah, this is somebody. It's not a soldier. This is somebody of the working class, working in factories and creating machines, creating ammunition for the war effort, and so on. And in telling this worker, a regular German guy, probably, yeah, give your metals, give your copper, give your tin, give messing, aluminum, give it to us, because the army needs it. Yeah, das hier braucht es, in my best German, means the army needs it actually. Yeah, so this is an explanation, very fast, of this poster. Of course, on the test, you will get like a translation of other languages too. They're not expected of you that you know German. Below the poster, there's explained something. What you need to know is that during the First War, there was scarcity, schaarste. So they didn't have enough of a lot of stuff, eggs, bread, milk, and so on. Fuel, but also not enough metals. And metal is something what you need during the war effort, because the harbors were blocked and there was nothing coming in. And to produce guns, ammunition, tanks, airplanes, and so on, you need metals coming in from abroad, and to develop those in the factories and make arms out of them, machines and hand grenades and so on. De correct answer. Er wordt een beroep gedaan op de gehele bevolking om metalen in te zamelen. So the whole population is asked to collect metals and to hand it over to the army. And why? Because the war, there was scarcity, scarsiteit, schaarste, of natural resources like aluminum, iron, copper, tin, nickel, that is named in the poster. Those are natural resources, and most of them were not found in Germany itself. Most of them were found abroad, actually. Schaarste is a very important word here in Dutch. And schaarste, ding papiamentu, pa papiamentu is significa scarsidad. So you would have seen it there in the poster, coming from the bag that the worker is actually holding. Yeah, so he's holding in his bag, he's holding the scarce metals, the scarsidad. Ja, de schaarste, de metalen die er in schaarste aanwezig zijn, and they're asking him to hand it over. I hope this was a helpful video. If you want to practice more with especially the multiple choice questions, just type in left zich. So type this into your browser and type in this code and then fill in your name. You fill in your name, yeah, and you can do all the multiple choice questions or the closed answer questions, and that would be very, very helpful for you if you want to practice with this. You can subscribe below if you have questions. I'd like to hear them during class, or post them below. And for now, goodbye.